Good morning and welcome to Carry On with Carrie Fitz. I'm Carrie Fitz, owner and broker at Carrie Fitz Real Estate in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, and our newest office in Fairhope, Alabama. Be sure to check back every Tuesday for new episodes. Well, today we have an incredibly special guest joining us, Mr. Vaughn Poe. Vaughn has worked at the university. He was working at the university when I met him. He actually bought a house that I had listed. He has served on multiple local, state, and national boards and committees and organizations. He is a retired Marine Corps officer. Thank you for your service. He is, I was going to say that, but I figured I might get it wrong. He's the executive director for the Alabama Real Estate Commission, and that is primarily what we're going to talk about today. But first, if you'll kind of fill in some holes in that really loose biography, tell me a little bit about what you've got going on.
Well, for starters, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to return to the capstone and just be in Tuscaloosa and the ambiance of it all. So really thank you again for having us here. But I am from Alabama, born and raised. The bio is very accurate in that I've tried to do a little bit everywhere. But I was born and raised in West Alabama. I did join and serve in the Marine Corps for about 21 years, and I came home to continue serving. So that's another reason that I'm here.
Good. Well, the role of the commission is why we brought you in today, and if you will share a little bit about your role as the director, the executive director of AREC, which is the Alabama Real Estate Commission, and a lot of times we'll refer to it as just the commission.
Okay, sure. So the commission is the state executive branch agency that's in charge of regulating real estate brokers.
Okay.
That's our primary role. That role is designed to ensure that we are protecting the public through regulating real estate licensees. And at the core, again, that's what we do. We're there to protect the public by regulating our licensees. Now, we do issue licenses, but the other aspect of issuing a license is managing that license, i.e. renewal, and then also regulating that license. If there's an issue with the practitioner or an issue with the public, we bring that licensee back in and try to sort out whatever the issue is.
Okay. And I teach real estate too, and I went to Montgomery to the commission to get that ability. So tell me how that works into the commission as well.
Specifically?
For education. You train all the agents to be educators?
Well, so on the education side, we have career educators, and then we have folks that might teach one or two classes. So the commission offers several trainings throughout the year, normally about two, at various times, and we try to get both groups of individuals back in, first-time instructors and then also existing instructors, or the career folks. Normally with our career folks, it's a bit more engaging.
Sure.
And so that class size is about 50. On the other side, these new instructors, they're really receiving hands-on, almost one-to-one ratio type instruction. And so that is a class, and that class size is about 10.
Yeah, I really enjoyed those classes, actually. I really did learn a lot. And even though the struggle is real for me to get to Montgomery for a day, and I mean, I'm preaching to the choir for that, but I really did enjoy those classes. They were really great, and the group, Pam and what's the other woman that's with
Julie.
Mm-hmm. They are wonderful.
And now Brittany.
Okay, I don't think I've met Brittany.
So Brittany is there now. Pam Oates has retired.
Oh, that is a shame.
She has retired.
I didn't know that.
Just recently.
Okay.
Just recently. So she's not there any longer, but Brittany is there.
Okay,
Brittany
good.
Anderson-Jones, Dr. Brittany Anderson-Jones. And I'm saying this because one of the things that we've tried to capitalize on in the past few years is correcting that gap in the quality of licensees that we have out there. A lot of brokers call, they talk to me, they speak with commissioners about just the quality of licensee that's out there, the quality of qualifying broker. And so our first step in trying to address that was to take a look at education.
Good.
Because that's how individuals come into the profession and practice of real estate. They're educated, they pass a course, they take an exam, they're licensed. Now, what that looks like is what we've tried to address, and we've actually taken some guidance from our trade association, and we've tried to implement that into several changes within license law, as a matter of fact. And so we're very excited to see how we can change not only the caliber and quality of our instructors, but also of the content that's being delivered.
Okay, and I wasn't planning on spending this much time talking about education, but it pops another question in my head. So there are a number of online courses for pre-license. So anybody can pay the money, take the class, pass a test, and then you've got them as a. So how do you combat that? And what if they go to a brokerage that may not have a hands-on active broker, after that? Because I know that after I got my license, and the licensees that come in here, they have a certain amount of information, but they have no hands-on anything. And so then if you don't have a broker that has that, how, and I know you know this, so what do you do? How do you have anything to do?
We do.
Okay.
So part of what we have suggested in proposed legislation is incorporating the broker into the licensure process.
Okay.
And so we created a broker's checklist that'll be out there. And it's very prac app. It's very, do you know how to do this? Okay, if you do, show me. And oh, by the way, I'm going to affix my signature to this document as a qualifying broker, stating that you have this competency. Several other professions do that. I think it's important for what we do based on the rate and pace at which we're issuing real estate licenses. And keep in mind, the way current law is written, some folks can be in the practice for 2 years with zero real estate transactions. They can take the test and become a qualifying broker, and just like that, you have an individual now who's in charge of a real estate company, but they've never actually had a real estate transaction themselves. And so now theoretically they could be in charge of other people who know less than they do. And that's where problems is.
Okay, gotcha. I hadn't even thought of it that way, but yeah. What is the mission of the Alabama Real Estate Commission, or AREC, and how does it impact the industry? My understanding is that AAR, which is the Alabama Association of Realtors, they handle realtors, and you protect the public.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and not to get too far into the numbers,
Right.
But with your analogy, there are about each renewal year, we issue about 40 or 44,000 licenses.
I had no idea the number was that big.
Correct.
Okay.
We issue that many licenses. Of that number, you have a lot of multiple licensees in there, and so we have roughly about 39,000 people
Okay.
that also are out there functioning. I think our largest trade association has about 18 to 19,000 members, maybe, and so they are our largest body of folks out there. But we do have, a majority of licensees that are not members. I mean, I think that's some opportunity there, but a lot of times we get phone calls, and it's not from a trade association member. It's just from a person out there, a mom and pop. That's two people. The husband's or the wife's the qualifying broker. The other person's the agent, and they have a little shop out in nowhere, Alabama.
Yeah.
And they have real estate questions. That's the majority in the state. It's not the larger companies that you see. Yeah. They are more prevalent, but as far as numbers are concerned, we have a large swath of folks out there. Everyone wants to get rich in real estate, but unfortunately, some folks don't understand the rules or the practice, and so they have miscues, and that's why you have a real estate commission.
Good. So what do you see as the most significant challenges facing the real estate industry in Alabama today? You mentioned a couple, but...
To be honest and to summarize, I would say change.
Mm-hmm.
Change.
On the national level?
Change on the national level, because that affects what we do locally.
Mm-hmm.
We don't live in a bubble, and so as things are settled in courtrooms and other places, they will impact how we conduct our business here, because they will impact the business and the industry. And so with the industry and business both being affected, regulation will have to, in some way complement or contrast it, on the backside. And so we're paying very close attention to that. We're in communication with our decision makers there in Montgomery to see when is the right time to move and adjust. And not to get into this portion of the conversation now, but we've been very cautious about reacting and responding to this,
Yeah.
because over the past 3 years, as you know, we've had ebbs and flows.
Yes.
I mean, each week it seemed that it was changing at one point, and so I just had to really settle the commission down and say, okay, whatever the final answer will be, we'll know it when it's out there, or we'll know when they let us know. But if we start chasing,
Yes.
You
And
know,
I
if you
feel
start
like that's
chasing
how it
things-
was at the beginning. Everybody jumped up and started moving, and
No.
then it was, okay, now we're doing this, and so now we're
No.
doing. So I think that's a good course of action. So licensing and education. How has the licensing process evolved over the years, and are there any new initiatives on the horizon?
Well, absolutely so. Licensing and education have both changed a great deal. Education, more performatively. We've really tried to adjust education so that it became more impactful and more meaningful. And I know those sound like shoestring type words, but our concern is centered around protecting the public, right?
Correct.
A better educated licensee has a less likelihood to harm the public because they know what they're doing, they know how to do it, they're following the law, and they're fine and they're good to go.
And what we talked about a little bit earlier this morning is the way I feel about it with a lot of these agents is that they're not making a mistake, they're making a choice. They know, a lot of them know what they're doing, they know the rules, they've been doing it for a long time, they make a choice to do something else.
And that's the concern. I mean, the mistake aspect I understand, and the commissioners do as well. But when you're woeful in what you're doing, and you sort of know the ropes well enough to know the ropes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So continuing education is crucial in our field. We're all about it here. I'm always encouraging the agents to do a lunch and learn because why not? I mean, it's part of your dues of your association. They don't charge for that. You get lunch and you learn something. And we had, I think, 5 or 6 agents, and we have about 15 agents here. So, a third of them went to the lunch and learn yesterday, which was on zoning in Tuscaloosa. And I highly encourage our agents there to learn all the time. So as continuing education is crucial in our field, are there any new trends or any new requirements that agents should be aware of?
Well, we have several initiatives that are in legislation. What I will say with respect to CE, and I tell folks this wherever I can, CE often.
Yeah. Not just to check the box that you have to have a certain amount every year and you're like, oh, waiting till the last minute, but to stay on top of it.
CE often. We're working with a lot of providers and talking about needs of the industry, needs of the field. What do folks need? They need more contracting courses. What do they need? They need more fundamentals of whatever they're doing. Basic type classes where they may have went through the licensure process. They may have taken an exam. They have a license. However, there's a little remedial work that may need to happen up front.
Yeah.
And without a hands-on broker, that won't occur. And so CE is the only way to get that.
That's right. When I first got my license, I understood that I didn't really have much business. I was brand new. So I took every class I could find because I just wanted to know as much as I could so I could be as confident as I could in my profession. And, kind of the more you the more you learn, the more you earn. So I'd get better and better at my job. So I do encourage my agents to take as much as they can. And there's an award in the state that's called the Arthur B. Pope Award for Education. And we've won it every year but one.
Oh, wow.
On the local and the state level.
Oh, wow.
Because we are so it's so important to me and so to the agents to get as much as they can in terms of education. I think it's so important.
And another thing, and I'll say this as we're moving on, just a caveat, and I know we're going to talk about trends later, but a trend that I'm seeing from the bench, I'm noting that as commissioners are applying fines or education to
But
a
that's as
respondent.
a punishment.
Well, they
But I understand why. I mean,
right,
I get it.
Right. We have individuals that will
Something's
come before
lacking.
commissioners as QBs or as agents and say, well, I didn't know that. So you didn't know that you could not deposit someone else's funds into your private account. Okay, but they're prescribing training now, and so I think there's additional CE opportunity that will be presented in the future because these folks have to have this training before we will reactivate the license.
And how far does that get you with a cop?
Oh,
I didn't know. Oh, okay.
well, they
You're
say
excused.
it, and when they say they don't know, it's an indication of several things because in some cases, when we do a bit of research, we find that the person is CE compliant. So they've taken CE, but you still did not know something as basic and fundamental as that.
Yeah.
So that means you took the CE for the sake of taking CE, and now, and we do have several choices of CE, as you know, but commissioners really want folks to have in-person training.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
For me, at
That's
my
their
age, I don't
prerogative.
know if it's a my age thing, and I don't think it is really. I just think because even my new agents, that are, in their 20s or whatever, they learn so much more in person than they do in a course online. I mean, I just think it's a thing. I don't think it's an age thing. I think they're more used to the online thing, but I don't think they get more out of it than I would. I
Understood.
think that it's running in the background while they're doing something else. I don't know.